And how would you say, and Khalif, if you have a question, go for it.
And cut me off if I talk too much, because I have a tendency.
Oh no, I'm the queen. Like I'm the queen of talking too much.
No, I'm the listener. I'm just like, all right, let me hear what they say. It's like double Dutch for me. I'm just waiting for like
you're just waiting now.
Truck of knowledge. So for folks that are still getting ready to watch it, or that's on like their list to watch, how would you describe Sweet Magnolias? What's it about?
So the best way I can describe it is it's kind of like when you go to a town that you ain't never heard of, but you went there because like a friend suggested that you go. So it's like, oh, let's go to Eureka Springs. I ain't never heard of Eureka Springs. I went there and I liked it. And it liked the food, the culture, the people, and everything. And then, you know, about a week later, you got to go back to real life, like work or something like that. But you can't wait till the next time you go back. That's kind of how I would say the show is like, in a like nutshell.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's definitely a world that just like is brimming with like a nostalgic feeling. I don't know like what it would be nostalgic from, because I'm not from the South. I've never even been to the South before, but it's just a world that I'm like, I enjoy being here right now. It makes me feel comfortable.
It's like it's the comfort of a small town.
Yeah.
Where everybody has breakfast at that one place, and everybody knows the home team. Everyone's at the home team games, and yeah, it's the comfort of a small town.
And usually when I hear small town, like being from like the coast, I'm like, eh. But this small town serenity and Sweet Magnolias, it's very diverse. Everybody is just like loving up on each other, and like I'm like, okay.
And it doesn't feel forced either, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, let's just randomly stick some black people in here, but like, you know,
Yo, we were just talking about that because I was saying a small detail that like I noticed and really appreciated was it was a scene in the church, and like the pastor in the church, she's a black woman, and she pointed to the Jesus at the front of the church, and it was a picture of Black Jesus.
Oh, Black Jesus!
Yes, look at that production design. Y'all better pay attention.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's how you do diversity for a show, where it doesn't just feel like we put you in here, but we're not even gonna talk about the fact that you're not white, but it felt natural.
Talking about like, so acting as a business, right? We are our own enterprise, our own corporations. And so most of the times we don't realize that. We think, I just want to be on a show. I just want to be on a stage. But we're our own business, and we have to treat our business as such. So what's important for actors is branding and creating the image that you want to see. So I would love for you to just like, first of all, describe your brand, because I heard you mention there's going to be, in any given audition, there's going to be 5 guys who are like me. So it's like, who is Frank Oakley? How would you say, what is the Frank Oakley brand, first of all? And then how did you go about creating that?
I'm all about doing stuff that's like, you know, calling out injustices, something that it motivates and inspires. Not everything has to be, you know, picture perfect and clean, but, you know, something that's invoking change, or at least, you know, call into action. So that's kind of how I branded myself in that way. And I'm really fortunate and happy and excited that things kind of just gravitated that way.
Yeah.
But I think a key thing that would have helped save a little bit more time on the front end is if I would have embraced more of my identity as a whole versus just kind of like a part of it. Because like I said, I had just got into acting in 2011. So when I transferred to UMKC, I didn't know nothing about nothing. I just knew that I wanted to, you know, get the foundation.
I understand that.
You know, so whatever they told me my type was, or my whatever was, I ran with it. And it served me well, and it's still serving me well now, but just kind of like how it is like when you grow up in the hood, or really any area when you're Black and you're going into a predominantly white space, or a space that's unfamiliar, or a space that can like, you know, potentially cost your life. The things about you that can, you know, hinder you from that, you hide away. So like I'm naturally goofy and I'm and silly, but I knew like in the hood, you couldn't do that unless it's a safe place. So I thought the same thing when I got to UMKC. Since they're telling me I'm this like serious dude and all this kind of stuff, I have to, you know, suppress that side. So now I'm starting to kind of reincorporate a little bit more of that comedic and goofy self. And if I'd have like realized that and embraced that more from the beginning, I wouldn't have to backtrack a little bit like I'm doing now.
Yeah. Navigating that and like not being typecast, like not being like Frank always does this. He is X Black guy. So always hire him for that. Because we want to show our range, but we also want to sit comfortably in our brand. So talk about navigating those two extremes.
Honestly, I didn't really get a good grasp on it until I got down here to Atlanta, because when I was there in Kansas City, I felt like, you know, when you're in the predominantly white circles, you know, you talk white and all that kind of stuff. But when you with your people, you talk how you talk. So when I got down here in Atlanta, that was encouraged to just be how you are, how you talk. So coming down here and embracing that helped me kind of tap back into that part of me. So now I feel like no matter where I go, I can be authentically myself and talk however I talk, you know, without being like, you know, hey, how are you? You know, that kind of, you know. So,
I feel like that's such an important part of branding is authenticity, like you mentioned. Because I feel like oftentimes when people think of brands, they think of it like how it is almost like for a musician, where it's like you create this persona and you're like, that's who I have to be now. And it's like we're getting to the time where, because of social media, authenticity is the thing. And especially with this pandemic, that's something that I've been seeing arise, is that celebrities, sort of that persona or that brand is starting to like fall, and everybody's like, we're at home, we're in our pajamas, we know we don't always have to wear makeup and all this. And so you get them in their authentic selves and being just on a live, just however they are laying in bed. And I feel like it's becoming more okay to be that version of yourself, which I really appreciate.
And embracing that too, because one thing that, I mean, we know that as Black people, but people that are listening that may not be Black, like, surprise, we come in different shades, flavors, and all this stuff. Not everybody,
we're Black.
But I feel like branding is the same way, where just because I'm Black and like to play the switch doesn't mean that, you know, I can't be Black and like playing basketball or football or something. It's I feel the same thing with branding, where, like you said, a lot of people's authenticity is starting to come out more. So,
you know, my sister has been like, what are you doing with your social media? Like, how are you curating it? Is it just pictures? Is it just random? And I'm like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? She's like, you got to create yourself. You got to curate it. And so talk to me about like, how you, because I admire what you're doing on your social media and the videos that you have, and they're very encouraging. How have you found social media as a tool in your career as an actor?
It definitely helped me become more comfortable with this side of things, because I'm used to just, you know, doing the acting stuff, like, you know, just doing my audition and that's it. But like getting on and showing my personality, that's something that it's kind of helped me do that with social media. And by doing that, I feel like that's something I kind of incorporated. Like, I started my video series, I think last year, called I'm Gonna Be Frank, where I just started talking about random stuff that I just want to talk about. And that got me more comfortable with, you know, just talking in front of the camera and being myself in front of the camera. Because every time I'm in front of the camera, I'm being a character. But how do I just be myself, you know, just out like it is, you know?
Yeah. That's powerful, just being yourself, because that's way more, like we've been saying, that's way more in demand than the personas that we've been, because acting is graduating. Before, we had to create and live in the stereotypes, and now nobody wants that anymore. People want what we as humans bring to the table. That's a lot of what grad school was deconstructing our ideas of what we were supposed to be when we were acting. It's like, stop. Don't nobody want to see that. Just be yourself.
Also, being that authentic self in front of in front of the camera and on social media, but also using social media so that when we're not booked and busy, we're not idle. Because on your social media, seeing like you do like your monologue days where you're posting yourself doing a monologue, it's nice to just be able to act without, you know, having a contract to act. It's like we still get to do this thing even when we're just sitting in our living rooms. And
and that's the beautiful thing I've learned about content creation once I stopped being stubborn and actually started doing it, is it gives you a sense of dignity and worth. Meaning, like, when you got that confidence and that energy, you going into audition, you're not going into audition with this thirsty energy like, oh, please hire me. It's like, if I get it, bet. If I don't, that's cool. I still got to go do my talk show or my monologue or whatever I'm doing.
Exactly.
And I think, and it's not that you're doing that on purpose, but at the same time, it's your that energy is making casting want to cast you more, or at least bring you in more. Like, this person just they're relaxed, they're calm, and that makes me relaxed and calm. Let's have him or her come in again. You know what I mean?
I'm going to hashtag that thirsty energy. Like, I don't ever want to go into an audition room with thirsty energy.
I had that most of the time when I was in Kansas City. Like, I was just like, ooh, you know, and I finally got rid of that. And the content creation, I think, is what helped that.
Oh, that's so dope. I think I still have a little bit of thirsty energy only because it's like that newness, like that scrappy, like give it to me, I want it. So I, you had to drink your tea right then, Khalif.
Everyone take a sip for this hashtag thirsty energy.
Thirsty energy, hashtag thirsty.energy.com. No, but I have it a little bit and I'm trying to shed it. And it's fascinating to know that this, what we've created here, our platform, can be helpful in shedding that. Like, that's so dope. That's so powerful.
I feel like being on the other side of casting is what also helped me with my thirsty energy. Because when I was on the other side of casting, I was able to see how many factors play into casting someone. It's like there's you and there's the skill and there's the talent that you bring, but there's also like the slight variable that can like change whether or not you get this job is, are you too tall to be standing next to that person all the time on screen? It's like, are you available on this one day that we actually need people to be available? There's so much that goes into it. And so the thirsty energy, you just gotta like, do away with it.
And that's the thing too, where like, I firmly believe that, like, you hear it all the time that you're enough, but like it hit different, lately for me, where it's just like, truly, if you're enough, you're enough. You are always going to be enough, because no matter if there's 30 people going up for the role, 3 people going up for the role, 30,000 people going up for the role, if it's meant for you, you're going to get it regardless. So you're the only person that's bringing your experiences, your, personality, all those kind of things. You can only bring that, and that's unique, and that's enough always. So Yes.
Yes, Black Jesus. Yes.
There is one thing I want to say in like to whoever's going to be listening when this goes back out. One thing, like, it's for everybody, but specifically Black actors. Again, you're always enough, and don't give up. But more importantly, like, don't find your identity in what you do. It'll destroy you every single time. What you need to do and what you have to do is just realize that your worth is in who you are, not what you do.